Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Hello, welcome to Unequal Prequel.
Extra. Sort of?
I was going to get to that. I wasn't going to quite jump into it quite as heavy as that.
All right, okay. You confused me. You changed the word.
We do prequels once in a while.
I know, but it always kind of catches me by surprise. You know what I'm like.
Rich, I'm not joking. Everything catches you by surprise.
Yeah. On this podcast, I mean, not in life in general, but...
He's surprised, but we're doing that.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this. Do you remember we had that conversation about those things?
I have a lot of things in my head. Right, there's just not. There's too many like 1990s song lyrics in my head that I can remember perfectly, but I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow.
Oh, I'm exactly the same. And someone texts me, and I'm like, I'll text them back later.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
I don't, and I feel really bad. So if you're listening to this and you've texted me, and I haven't texted you back, it's not you, it's me.
WhatsApps, emails, I do that all the time. I read it and I'm like, I'll do that later, and I never do.
I'm in the middle of something, and then normally work, my job, and I'm like, okay. My mum's, sorry mum, do it to my mum a lot, because she's like, okay. Anyway, we're doing a prequel?
Yeah, ish. I think.
Basically, I think I'm going to say we've been on a bad run of movies, right?
Yeah.
Or films. We've been...
At the cinema, especially.
Cinema review episodes, especially, that have been disappointing or flat out rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we might class the last 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I'm just going to look at the list because I was doing stuff today. The last... Maybe Deadpool and Wolverine was the last one we really both quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
Twisters we thought was okay. I mean, we gave a high score to Alien Romulus, but it was a bitterly disappointing ending.
It was, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I would say since the last the last 20 minutes of Alien Romulus, we've not seen anything that good. I mean, Beetlejuice was okay. I had fun, but it wasn't amazing.
Yeah. The last thing we absolutely loved was Furiosa.
Yeah.
We were spoiled with 2 weeks with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Furiosa, and then Bad Boys 4 in my books, but not in yours.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's been a very tough going review section of our podcast. But today we thought, fuck it, we're going to squeeze this in somehow.
Yeah. We're going to watch a film we think's actually going to be good. We've heard good things about, and it's sort of prequel adjacent-ish.
Yes, it's got 1 in the title. It's also something that makes Rich incredibly happy just thinking about.
Yeah.
So we went and watched Transformers 1, the animated movie directed by Josh Cooley. He directed Toy Story 4. You know, we have mixed feelings about Toy Story 4, definitely. But what we don't have mixed feelings about is our love for the 1986 animated Transformers movie, correct?
Correct. Absolutely love that movie. First time I ever cried in the cinema. First movie I remember absolutely loving. I was 5, by the way.
That was your happy place, isn't it? You put that on just to cheer yourself up sometimes.
Yeah, Transformers the movie and Moneyball. That's my happy place.
I think we mentioned it on Transformers: The Rise of the Beasts review episode. That Rich loves Transformers. He collects lots of the old figures and that.
Yeah, not so much these days because they're a lot of money. But I still have ones from when I was a kid.
He's super
still
cool
have
like
my mini-bots from when I was a kid.
We went and watched the 40th year anniversary of the original TV series in cinema only a few months ago.
Yep, we did.
We kind of felt like I was tricked into that by the promoters. I thought I was going to watch the movie, the Transformers animated movie, and then Rich went, well, it can't be that because it's not 40 years old yet. That's, 1986. And I was like, what are we doing here then? And what they did, they played the first 4 episodes of the original TV series. Yeah. And then at the end, Rich went, well, that's not even my favourite part of Transformers, really.
No, it's not. The TV series is not the best bit of it.
I was very tired. But anyway, I love Transformers. I love the figures. I love that animated movie is great.
I love the Marvel comics. If you can get hold of the Marvel comics from the 80s and 90s, they are amazing. I have a full run in mint condition, all bagged and boarded. I love them.
Again, cool guy.
I am. That's so cool.
Cool guy. I really like the first Transformers live action movie, and then the rest. Oh, Bumblebee's good.
Bumblebee's good.
And Rise of the Beasts is not awful, but the rest of the ones that Michael Bay did are awful.
Yeah. Yes. The first one's fine, and it goes downhill from there rapidly.
Did they all do damage to you and your love for Transformers? Or
no, they didn't do damage to my love for Transformers. They did increase my hatred of Michael Bay.
Yeah, I imagine they were doing that. So were you excited for this
Do you know what?
Animated movie?
So this is one movie that I've heard a lot more about than I normally would, because obviously I'm in like Transformers forums and stuff where fans of Transformers talk about these things. And there's been a lot of negative stuff about like, no, it's not my Transformers. And I'm like, but a lot of that negative stuff is like, it's sort of that kind of like fan servicey stuff that people level at Star Wars. I'm like, well, it's not for you. It's not for us 40-year-old blokes. This is to get kids into Transformers and new people watching Transformers, right? This is to start again. It's an animated movie. Have a bit of like, it might not be exactly what you think it should be, but go in with an open mind. And that's what I've tried to do. Like, and actually, a lot of people that have done the same thing have all been quite positive about it.
Yes.
So there was a lot of doom and gloom about like, oh, I told you it'd fail. Look how much money it's made and stuff. Like, there's been a lot of that in the forums and things. But again, I think that's nonsense. Honestly, like, I think it was time that we had a decent Transformers animated movie based on that G1 kind of character line.
Preach.
And I'm glad it's come along.
Yep. I was a little bit negative at the beginning, but then I remembered myself what I said before the Spider-Verse cartoons came out. And I was like, well, there's no need for it. We've already got these live action films. Why do we need this animated? We've got so many Spider-Mans as it is. Why do we need any more? And then they came out and are like the best thing ever. So I quickly shut up. And I went, okay, let's see what this, there's no Peter Cullen doing Optimus. We got Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree
Henry.
Yes, as being Megatron.
Well, D16, then, yeah.
Oh.
No spoilers.
Is that a spoiler?
I don't think there's many spoilers in this movie, to be honest. But,
Yeah.
It's a prequel. It's hard to spoil a prequel, right? You sort of know what's going to happen.
So much history, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a synopsis for it?
Yes, I can do a synopsis for it. So this is set in a time before the Cybertronian War, essentially. So before there are Autobots and Decepticons, before there's Optimus Prime and Megatron. This is in a time before then. It's after the formation of Primus and Cybertron becoming a thing. It's after the death of the Primes. It's after that sort of time. And there are lots of robots living on Cybertron who can't transform. They don't have a transformation cog. That is a thing, by the way. That is, transformation cog is a continuity thing, yeah. I
did want to ask how much of this is canon, or is it all new lore?
The Transformers have transformation cogs in the original G1 storylines.
But what about the whole history of Cybertron?
No, this is all new. I think this is generally all new. So, there's a war with the Quintessons. So the origin story of Transformers from the original cartoon, and I think the comics too, is that they were actually created by the Quintessons and then turned on their masters, essentially. They were created as slaves by the Quintessons and they turned on their masters. And I'll tell you more about Megatron's backstory and stuff later, because there's a different the original story is different to this one.
Okay.
But yeah, so two of the non-transforming robots who are miners, Orion Pax and D16. It's safe to say that Orion Pax wants to go up in the world, essentially, and he's dragging D16 along with him, who's a bit more cynical about things. They end up entering a race, a Cybertronian race, which only transforming. So there's an upper class of Transformers, those that can transform, who have a cog, sort of an upper class to those who don't, the workers. They enter this race, things ensue, and they make their way to the surface of Cybertron, where there are adventures that ensue, and yeah, they meet other characters that you'll recognise from the G1 cartoons and other Transformers continuity. There are adventures, and I can't say much more because I would be spoiling it for you.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. It is a fun romp of a film. It is it's much funnier than I thought it was going to be. And the issues I thought going in I was going to have with the voices. Yeah. Honestly, because Peter Cullen is such a big, iconic
I think Chris Hemsworth does a really good job.
Really fun, good job. And obviously through the film he grows. Because it is slightly spoiled. These two robots do turn up to be the two iconic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious.
Obvious.
Yeah, like
seen the posters.
Anyone who's seen a Transformers thing ever knows that this is Megatron and Optimus Prime, right?
Yeah.
They look like them. You can tell. Orion Pax looks like Optimus Prime and D16 looks like Megatron. You can't get away from that. You know that's who they are. But also, like, we know that they're the original names. Any kind of casual Transformers fan will know that Orion Pax's original, Optimus Prime's original name, and D16 was Megatron's original name. So
did not know that. Did not know that, sir.
All right. Like I say, it is a prequel, so it does presume that you know some stuff already.
But even for people like me, I didn't really know that stuff.
No,
I was happy to go along with the new lore, as you put it, and the new stuff and everything like that. And I was like, okay, I'm into this.
There are
Cybertron looks fun.
Some lovely little fan servicey nods.
Yes,
like you've not got the touch or the power. Love that. That's really good. She called Elita 1 mainly has these ones. I think she says she calls them GoBots at one point. She did. Which is, again, hilarious, because GoBots are essentially inferior Transformers toys.
Yes. So she was voiced by Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yes, Scarlett Johansson, who, again, I think did a really good job.
She sounds like a Transformer.
I wasn't a big fan of Elita 1 being pink. I don't know why they made her pink. She's normally kind of like a scarlet red kind of colour.
Oh, okay. And again,
I think idea. It was just like, we got to make it extra girly one. Let's make her pink. I don't know. Just need a bit. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's Bumblebee, who's voiced by
Keegan-Michael Key.
Keegan-Michael Key.
He
is the comic relief.
Bumblebee in this. He's called B127. They never get to calling him Bumblebee, do they?
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah. So
Badassatron.
Badassatron, yeah. So, but we're going to presume, we know that is Bumblebee. Yeah. Oh, he is. He's got his stingers and his mask and stuff. It is Bumblebee.
And he's yellow.
Yeah, he's yellow.
It's good enough for me.
There's other yellow Transformers, but yeah, here's Bumblebee.
Okay. So, you happy with it?
I had a really good time. I enjoyed it. There were. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's quite simple in places. It's not very complex, but it is for kids, so it would be. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And some things that I think I was skeptical about voices as well, but actually, I think the voices really worked. I think Chris Hemsworth really worked. I think that he started with a very Chris Hemsworth voice and very much moved to a Peter Cullen voice by the end. That kind of transition. And I tell you what, I really like Steve Buscemi's Starscream.
Steve Buscemi works so well.
I'm a big fan of that. I really enjoyed that. I think John Hamm as Sensible Prime was good. But I think the real kind of star of the show is Brian Tyree Henry as D16 / Megatron. I think he's the star of the show, really.
His turn is, and that storyline
there is
really
something
good,
beautiful that happens in that. D16's eyes are yellow to start with. And as he turns to Megatron, they get redder and redder and redder. So they start to get a tinge of orange, and then they get redder and redder until towards the end of the movie, they're so red that you get a bit of I don't know what you call it, like light burn as he moves, and the red kind of moves like you would, like a laser kind of thing in your eye. It's great. I really like that. That's a real touch of class, I think. So
the movie is basically built around that the relationship between the two characters. They start off as very much brothers in arms and best friends. Yeah. And then throughout the movie, they take a different path or have different ideologies because of certain things that happen in the movie. And you can't say either of them are wrong or right for a lot of it, I would say. The growth into Megatron is really interesting. And in a film that is for a kids' film, it's quite dark in places. It is. But it's treated really well. Like, it's not too... They don't go too far to make it too... What's the word I'm looking for? Just too dark. Like, yeah,
it's not too grown up, is it? Yeah. It's kind of... It's one my son could watch and perfectly understand. Oh, but then I could watch and enjoy and get a bit more out of it too. Yeah. I think that we see that a lot now, that growth of a baddie being like going from... understanding why that character has gone that route. And I think this is kind of, it's a story of essentially two characters who are very much side by side, but get separated because they treat a situation in a different way. They're both trying to achieve the same things, but their methods are very different. And that's what drives them apart, essentially.
Because I don't know if you were like me, but I was waiting. That's the reason I was watching the film, to see how these two characters turn into their future selves.
And I think that might be a slight weakness, because I feel like actually Megatron, like D16's shift to Megatron happens quite quickly.
Okay.
I don't think you see enough of that anger at the start. I don't feel like he's got that, I think he needed a little bit more of the anger to start with, so that you can see where that grew and grew and grew from. And I think, so the original story of D16's turn to Megatron is that he's a gladiator. So essentially in old Cybertronian, it's like lore, it's like sort of like Rome essentially. So you have the leading primes, but they have like essentially gladiatorial slaves, and Megatron essentially it's the movie Gladiator. Like Megatron basically leads a team of gladiators and they rise up against their masters, and he becomes
I'd like to see that.
I know, right? So that's the original story of Megatron. So yeah, if you want to, you can read it in the comics. I don't think you can see it anywhere.
I can see why they didn't put that into a kid-friendly,
absolutely, and also they needed in some way to get Prime and Megatron together, because they're not together in that story. Like Prime becomes Prime in a very different way, essentially.
How does Prime come to Prime?
So Prime becomes Prime. Prime is Orion Pax, and him and Elita One, who's not Elita One at that point either, and a friend, I can't remember what his name is. They basically save Alpha Trion, and Alpha Trion turns them into like the Elita One and Optimus Prime, and the other their friend dies, I think, if I remember it rightly. But it's been a while since I've watched these cartoons. So
yeah, did you enjoy the animation? Because that's it's a big thing.
I think animation is great. I think it looks incredible. I think it's so easy to make a Transformers movie or animation look like a hot mess. Like just look like loads of cogs and nothing. Like loads of bits of metal flying about, and you can't make sense of it. But this doesn't do that. I think there's loads of really good. I was like character spotting to get loads of other kind of like, I'm like, oh look, it's Wheeljack. Oh look, there's Red Alert. There's Sideswipe. I was getting really excited, kind of looking at all the characters. I think it's animated really well. I didn't like the Quintessons very much. The whole point of a Quintesson is they have 5 faces, and it didn't have 5 faces.
I wanted to ask, we see them in the animated movie, right? Kind of.
Yeah, they're in the 86 movie.
Rotating.
Yeah.
Good. I was like, I recognise these things, but not enough to... I kept calling them Fremen in my head for the whole of the movie.
Yeah.
But I know, very, very different worlds. Okay, so I think we're positive now. Are we positive because we watched a lot of rubbish, or we just wanted to be entertained and amused?
I don't think so. I think I would have liked this if we'd have seen loads of other movies, to be honest. I don't think it's perfect. Like I said, I think it's quite simply written and told. But I think that's fine because it's a kids' movie,
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to overstay its welcome at all. I mean, I think
it zips along. You know,
hour and 39 minutes or something. So it wasn't mad. And I thought us, well, especially you being such a big geek about it, I thought you might be annoyed, but no, that's all good. Tick that box off.
I wanted to make sure I went into it with an open mind and not expecting them to recreate what my origin story for these characters, because I knew it wasn't going to be that. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be. Tell new stories. It's great. You know, I hate fans who hang on to what they think and gatekeep stuff. It's not for us anymore. We're old and past it. Give it to the kids.
You've had your turn. They've had that try. They made all these multiple movies, and, you know, we're in this position now where live-action Transformers movies don't seem to be popular.
No.
Or, you know, bringing the huge bucks that the first few did. They made over $1 billion, and they might have made a lot of money, but they're very critically they're slated by fans and the critics. So, and they've tried rebooting it a couple of times, and I'm not quite sure where all the live action stuff sits. There's rumours they're still going to go ahead with this G.I. Joe / Transformers team up.
Yeah,
you know, that sounds mad. I know they did that in the comic books or something, right?
Yeah. There's crossovers with G.I. Joe and with other Marvel characters, because they're Marvel comic books, you see. So
I'd love to see that.
There's all sorts of different crossovers.
Put them in Secret Wars, you bastards. Be brave.
Yeah. And I just, I guess I think that's my worry. You mentioned about them making $1 billion, the Michael Bay movies. I worry this isn't going to make much money.
Well, it's been out in America for about a month now, because I think we're aiming for half terms on either side of the ocean, and it didn't have as much a bigger opening than they thought and hoped. And like you, I've seen a lot of the Transformers community come out and be like, support this movie. It's a great movie. You will love it. And I know it's had a budget of about 75 million. I can imagine with the marketing.
It's been quite heavy marketing. But then, these movies are never about the movies, really. Like, these movies are about selling toys, really. Right. I mean, you could make a good movie that's also selling toys. So, I think if this movie wipes its face in terms of budget, in terms of like ticket sales, if it makes its budget plus marketing back, so if it's 75 million, it needs to make about 150, I would say. Right. If it does that, then they'll make a profit from all the merchandise that you're going to get from it.
Because at the end there is a teaser. Right at the end of the end credits, there is a teaser of where the next story can go. We'll get to maybe spoilers in a second, actually. But worldwide, it's only made 112 million so far.
I mean, considering that's opening weekend here, though, isn't it? In the UK, I know it's not opening weekend.
That's worldwide.
Yeah, I get that. But what I mean is that it's only just opened here in the UK. And
but we're a very small market.
Yeah, but it's also only just opening. It only opens in China like tomorrow or something. So, and I think crossed. China's where it's going to be big.
That's where animation movies can really take off, because, you know, you just put a brilliant voice cast with it. And
absolutely. So I'm crossing my fingers it's going to make its money back.
Because there is a story there to be told, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, spoiler territory. Spoiler territory.
Sorry for people wearing headphones. They just deafened you.
It's no louder than your bones.
But they know that's coming.
True. Sentinel Prime character voiced by John Hamm is the bad guy.
Yeah. I think that's pretty obvious, though, right? I think for the first time I saw him, I was like, he's the bad guy.
I thought that because I've heard Sentinel Prime, and then I thought of that third film that's voiced by Leonard Nimoy, where he's a bad guy. And he is a bad guy. But it also sets up that how he's been lying to all these people, took away their cogs, mining the, whatever they're called, Energon, for him to pay back to the Fremen.
Quintessence, yeah.
So he can stay in power, and obviously D16 gets angry about that and he just wants to kill him. Yeah. As Prime wants him to serve justice and face these consequences, and that's where that roots from, between good and evil. And at the end, he is full-blown Megatron.
And you can understand why D16 feels like that. I mean, Sentinel Prime brands him essentially.
Yes, like a slave.
Yeah, exactly. So you can absolutely understand where that kind of comes from. And yeah, at the end of the movie, it's essentially the Decepticons saying, we're going to rise up and we will rule this planet, kind of thing.
Yeah, they've named themselves.
So the Cybertronian War in the G1 continuity is because the Energon is running out, and it's essentially a war over energy. Like, so the Decepticons want to use all the energy up and become as powerful as possible so they can take over other planets and get more energy from them, whereas the Autobots want to kind of conserve what they've got, which is why the Autobots drive and the Decepticons fly.
Oh,
because the Decepticons are happy to use up all their energy quickly, whereas the Autobots don't. They kind of stay on the ground and use as little energy as possible.
That'd be interesting. Maybe that's route for Transformers. I'm guessing they're going to call it Transformers 2.
Maybe.
Or, I like in Argentina, this one's called Transformers Uno, or someplace. That makes me.
Nice.
Maybe in France. Yeah, it is. The last 15 minutes are good. Like, there is... Spoiler. At one point, as ever in every Transformers movie, it seems, Prime gets mortally wounded, and you think, you're meant to think he's about to die. Yeah. And then he has his
but we know it's a prequel,
rebirth.
So we know he doesn't.
Yeah. And he comes back from the dead again, or before, however, because it's a prequel. And that bit, I thought was wicked.
Yeah. Where he gets his Energon axe, I think is especially really cool.
Oh,
really cool.
Yeah, I went like, ooh la la. Come on. Badass. And the music's really good.
I also think the light relief of B127, like, as the light relief.
Wonderful.
You need it, because otherwise it'd be too heavy for kids. I think, like, that is a really kind of, that adds a really good element to it.
I mean, as soon as he shows up, he's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Proper laughs all the way through it. He's like, I've got swords on my hands.
His little mate Steve.
Yeah. I like that. Again, people are going to complain and be like, that's not Bumblebee's character.
Well, let's just think about the people that haven't watched 40 years of Transformers.
Yeah,
lore.
Exactly.
Like the regular film goers, or just want to take
the
their
movie
kids.
needs that comic relief, I would say.
Yeah. I also think the movie needed to be made for newer fans, like you were saying.
Absolutely.
I think now's the time.
That's how things live on, is when they appeal to new fans, right? You want to keep them just appealing to the old folks, because otherwise they die with us.
And that, it's too good not to be shared with a wider audience and
absolutely
make people happy and smile. And I'm certainly, through this movie, I was having a very pleasant time, enjoying it, chuckling. I didn't mind all the lore. Like you said, the voices grew on me. It was a bit jarring at the beginning.
But they're not Prime and Megatron at the beginning.
I get it.
That's
and it's
the
a different
thing,
kind of
right?
animation as well compared to the Transformers animated movie and whatever, and the live action stuff. So no, I've got no problems with it, actually. Do you want to do Rotten Tomato quickly?
Yeah, go on then. Let's see what people think.
We're just going to start with this one because it's a prequel. So
okay.
So critics.
This is a tough one, but I think generally it's going to be pretty positive. Like, it's definitely it's definitely better than a 3 out of 5, and I hope most critics see that. So I'm going to say 85%.
Oh. 88%.
Oh, that's really close.
Really good. Someone, the Observer, Wendy-eyed, a refreshing new breed of Autobot adventure, one that has been notably souped up in the brains department.
Agreed.
And someone's put an original story that, if nothing else, is extremely loud.
It's quite loud, but then, it's a cinema. You don't go there to be quiet.
Even Mark Commode, it's got lots of smashy bashy action, satisfying crunchy silly machine transformation. It's got a not so subtle message about power corruption, and it's even got a couple of jokes I actually laughed at.
Yep. I think for Mark Commode, that is really quite positive.
Because he hates
it's not his kind of movie.
Yeah. So 88% is really good. Really good. Audience score.
I think it's got to be similar. I'm going to go 90%.
98%.
Wow! That's incredible.
Thought that made you happy.
Wow. Oh,
People
I really hope we
it.
get another one. I
really hope we do. Because then we wouldn't have wasted the last 6 minutes of sitting down in the cinema waiting for that. For the end scene.
True. We did sit and wait for the end credits sequence. Yeah.
No, but I know we've kind of seen the story played out a little bit before on the old live action stuff, but seeing that the pairing of those two again, Prime and Megatron, and their relationship in another movie would be really good.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more story to tell, and that you've mentioned that this is the kind of new Cybertron lore,
and it's not all resolved. There's still lots of quintessons hanging out there.
Everything is in play still. Everything is in play. So we're going to see more cool Transformers, more cool music. I'm definitely up for a sequel for this one. So
me too.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That we get it, because this was a lot of fun. It was so good to be in a cinema where I was actually enjoying what I was watching, like just being happy and content.
Me too.
And having no major anguishes about anything. I was like, oh, this is just fun. Thank you. I can turn my brain off for the next hour of 40 odd minutes and have a lovely little time watching characters I kind of know, but do new things in a new way.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I was more than happy with that. Yeah. Should we score it? I nearly forgot we were going to score it.
Yeah. So, it's hard. We're obviously not going to do unequal sequel because it's not a sequel. It's a prequel.
It's an unequal prequel.
It's an unequal prequel. In terms of what it's a prequel to, I'm not sure what we're going to do in
Transformers something.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than all the Michael Bay stuff. So I guess it's unequal in that way.
For me, it's still not as good as the first Transformers movie.
Oh, I think it is. But yeah,
but it is. And if we're adding animated movie is always the best one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I do like that silly Transformers movie, because at the time I hadn't seen anything like it. And then obviously it's Bumblebee.
Oh, well, see, I think Bumblebee's better than...
I knew that would be different. So I like how we can put those two in one, like, together. And then I like Beast Wars, and then the rest can get in the bin, probably. Actually, I like Dark Side of the Moon, whatever it's called as well.
Dark of the Moon, did you?
I know you don't.
No.
I think the last 45 minutes of that film
for me, it's
great.
86 movie, Bumblebee, this, Rise of the Beasts, then all the other hang on, no, the first Michael Bay one, then Rise of the Beasts, then all the other shit.
There is a lot of shit. Score out of 7.
I think it's not a 7.
No.
I'm not even sure if it's quite. It's not a 6.5. I'm between 5.5 and 6. I think I'm going to go 6 because I just had a lot of fun.
Strong.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 5.5. It's one of the better films I've watched this year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Animations are great, aren't they? They rarely let us down.
No, they really don't, actually. Animated movies.
Once you get Despicable Me 4, you're a bit bored of it, but...
Yeah, that's fair. But then I watched that again with my son just recently, and he really liked it. I had a lot of fun. He said it was a lot better than 3. So,
probably is.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's good.
There's a place. Do you know what else is a lot of fun? This podcast.
Yes.
All our interview episodes. We've now started season 7 of our interview episodes of this podcast, which is the main bit, right? It's the main part of the podcast. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any interview episodes, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the download button. We'll drop into your pod player of choice every single week, at least once a week, twice a week during the main season episodes. So yeah, go back, listen to all the old episodes. We had some brilliant guests on there. We had some nice feedback the other day from someone who listened to the podcast and was like, oh my God, it's actually really good. And I was like, yeah, I know, right?
Yes.
If you really like it, then get yourself onto anotherslice.com/unequal sequel, where for just $2.99 a month, you can join our subscription service and become one of our super special slicers. You'll get yourself access to extra bits for all the interview episodes, which are nice kind of insights in those sequel sessions that we do. You'll get yourself disenfranchised. We start another little podcast where we talk about movies that should have had a franchise and don't. And you get box set mentality, where we've just finished the Rambo box set and we're about to start the Of the Dead box set. George A. Romero's Of the Dead, 6 movies?
I think 6, yeah.
So yeah, we're about to start on that. Let us know what you thought of Transformers 1. Get on the social medias. We're on all of them. Just search Unequal Sequel. You will find us. Also, if you don't use social media and you want to get in touch, we are unequalsequel@hotmail.com. We do now have our website back up and running, but it doesn't have anything on it at the moment. So if you want to go and have a look at our logo, then by all means go to www.unequalsequel.co.uk and you will find us there. Is it co.uk or .com? I can't even remember.
It's .com, but
okay.
We can't even see our logo at the moment. It says, looks like this domain isn't connected to a website yet.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Wonder what's happened there. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to log in and find out what's going on, because that was working.
It was. I saw it.
Right. Let's sort that out then.
Wonderful. Good job. Next week is roundup time. End of October, last Friday of October.
Yes.
It's a weird month because there's still another week after this week, which will include Halloween and all that. But, we keep to the rules. Last Friday of every month, we do our roundups. Next week is a roundup week. Send in your thoughts and reviews on Hellboy 4, Joker 2, Transformers 1, Rambo 5. And anyway, thanks very much. And have you got anything else to say? I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit at the end of this one.
No, I think that's it. I think you've done it all, mate.
Thank you for listening. We will be back next week with a roundup. I keep saying roundup. And it's a goodbye from me. Bye-bye. And it's goodbye from him.
Bye!
See you on the next one. See you for this one. Have a good week. Bye-bye. So what's wrong with the website?
I don't know, mate. It looks fine. Don't know what's gone wrong with it. I'll make it work.
We are good at technology.
It was
We are
working.
good.
I don't know what's wrong.
He did a thing. He was so proud of the thing he did.
I did a thing.
It will be fine.